Section 2 deals with population. In this lesson, we're going to learn how the study of population patterns helps geographers learn about the world and how population statistics and trends are important measures of population change. Population is the total number of people in a given area. Population influences the variety of businesses, the types of transportation, the number of schools, and even hospitals in a community. Geographers who study human populations are interested in patterns that emerge over time. They study how many people live in an area, why people live where they do, and how populations change over time. Population density measures the number of people living in an area. It is expressed as persons per square mile or square kilometer. The more people who live per square mile, the more crowded or dense it is. Japan has a population density of about 897 people per square mile. That is really high population density. In many parts of Japan, people are crowded together in large cities, and its space is very limited. On the other hand, Australia has a very low population density. Only around 8 people per square mile live there. They have many wide open spaces with very few people. How do you think population density affects life in a place? High population density places usually have expensive land, crowded roads, buildings tend to be taller, and there's more pollution. Low population density places typically have more open spaces, less traffic, and are more available land and less pollution. Population density also impacts economic development in a region. These effects can be positive or negative depending upon the circumstances. High population density and abundant resources have the potential to create more job opportunities, which adds value to a region. Larger population density regions with limited resources can present many economic challenges. It can be difficult to provide goods and services to people when resources are in short supply. Population density measures the number of people living in an area. In order to calculate population density, you divide the place's total population by its area in square miles or square kilometers. For example, if your city has a population of 100,000 people, and the area of that city is 100 square miles, you would divide 100,000 by 100, and your population density would be 1,000 people per square miles, which would be a very dense or tightly packed group of people. Can you tell where most of the world's people live by examining the population density map on this slide? The areas of very high population density appear in our reds and darker reds. The areas of light population density are shown in the cream color or white colors on the screen. When an area is thinly populated, it is often because the land does not provide a very good life. It could be because the areas have rugged mountains or harsh deserts where people are unable to grow crops. Some of these areas could be frozen all or most of the year. For these reasons, very few people live in parts of far North America, Greenland, Northern Asia, and Australia. Some areas of the world have large clusters of population. Such clusters can be found in East and South Asia, Europe, and Eastern North America. These are areas that have fertile soil, plentiful vegetation, reliable sources of water and minerals, and a good agricultural climate. They are perfect for settlement. The natural resources in the regions offer job opportunities in farming, mining, and timber production. As populations increase, there is a higher demand for resources. They can drastically affect the environment. Many developed nations consume resources faster than they can regenerate them. In some areas, population has been growing faster than food supplies. Available farmland begins to shrink, and along coastal regions, ecosystems are pressured by the development of cities. Demand for fresh water also increases with population, causing some places to face shortages. The number of people living in an area affects all elements of life: the availability of housing and jobs, hospitals and schools, and the amount of available food. Geographers track changes in populations by examining important statistics, studying movement of people and analyzing population trends. In order to track population changes, geographers study three main statistics, and they can be seen here on the screen. They are birth rate, or the annual number of births per 1,000 people, death rate, the annual number of deaths per 1,000 people, and finally, the rate of natural increase. This is the birth rate minus the death rate. Denmark has a rate of natural increase of around 0.1%. This means that it is slightly more births than deaths and a very slight population increase. Population growth rates differ from one place to another. In some countries, populations are growing very quickly, and other times they are growing slowly or even shrinking. Countries in Europe and North America have very low rates of natural increase. In Russia, the birth rate is about 11 and the death rate is around 14. This results in a negative rate of natural increase and a shrinking population. In most countries in and around the world, populations are growing. In Mali, the rate of natural increase is about 3.1%. While that increase rate might seem small, it means that Mali's population is expected to double in the next 20 years. High population growth rates can pose major challenges as governments will need to provide enough jobs, education, and medical care for growing populations. Governments around the world track their population patterns and trends. Analyzing current data and making projections can help leaders address present and future needs of citizens. This might involve enacting new laws that protect the natural resources of an area. It could also allow a government to create policies that provide more economic opportunities for a region. Take a look at the total world population chart here on the screen. What continent is seeing the most rapid increase in their population? Which continents are seeing less of a rapid increase? A common cause of population change is migration, or the process of moving from one place to live in another. As one country loses population due to migration, another country gains population. People migrate for many reasons. Some factors push people to leave their country. Those factors are things like war, poor climate, natural disasters, and unemployment. Other factors pull people in the direction of a new living situation. Those factors could be land availability, climate, new resources, employment, or political and religious freedom. In the last 200 years, Earth's population has exploded. If we were to go back 2,000 years ago, the world had roughly 300 million people. By 1800, there were almost 1 billion people. Better health care and improved food production have supported population growth. In the year 2012, the world's population passed 7 billion people. Two important population trends are clear today. The first trend indicates that the population growth in some of the more advanced nations has started to slow, and we can see that represented here on this chart. The second trend indicates that the less advanced countries like Nigeria and Bangladesh and places like that have high growth rates, which impact the country's workforce and government aid. In this lesson, we learned that the study of population. Go back and review some of the key terms and phrases from this lesson so that you can be prepared for the Chapter 2 exam.